Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminally, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, horror, it's a horror bookshelf tour. So I did another video which I'll try and remember to link to the other day, which showed you all the crime books that are on the shelves around me ready to be read. So today I'm going to do horror. There's quite a lot to get through, so I will crack on and get to it. So firstly, and these are in no particular order, but I tried to group them by author, where I've got several books by the same author. So the other week I posted a video where I moaned about how terrible Richard Lehman was for half an hour. So firstly, let me show you all the Richard Lehman books I've got. So I think I've read most of these already, but bought them all, rebought them all more recently. So we'll reread them at some point. Obviously with that, taken with that the preparation of mind that you need in order to read a Richard Lehman novel. So we've got The Travelling Vampire Show, No Sanctuary, Midnight's Lair, All Hallows Eve, The Cellar. I've actually somehow managed to end up with 2 copies of The Cellar. In fact, it might even be 3. Darkness Tell Us, which is a bit of a longer one, by the feel of it. 500 pages. 500 pages of Lehman, who wouldn't want that? Night Show. In the Dark. So these obviously are all UK editions. I do like the way they're represented in the UK. Of these headline editions with the Steve Crisp covers. Out Are the Lights. So this was the very first Lehman book I read. I remember getting it out of the library and being quite, I think I was pretty young when I read it, and freaked out is probably the wrong word, but thinking that it was really quite scary. I suspect it isn't that scary, but it felt that way when I read it. Endless Night, which I have in hardback. Again, lovely Steve Crisp cover there. And then I've got 2 of these omnibus editions, which are available in the UK. So this first one has got Darkness Tell Us again, and One Rainy Night. So One Rainy Night was, apart from Out of the Lights, which I read when I was too young, One Rainy Night was the first one that I remember reading when I was a bit older and into horror. So, when I was kind of 15, 16, I read One Rainy Night, which I seem to remember quite enjoying it. Certainly I ended up buying loads more Lehman after that. And then finally, this one, which is Body Rides and, is it The Bite or Bite? But just Bite. Body Rides and Bite. So these covers are a bit dull, but it's a cheap way of getting the books anyway. Moving on. Sorry, just stack those up. Right, moving on then. So, Stephen King, got to be in here somewhere, obviously. So not all of these, strictly speaking, are horror, but they're all King, so I've put them all in the horror section. And these are all ones that I haven't read by him. So I've read most of his books, but there are significant gaps, particularly from his more recent stuff. So we've got Lizzie's Story, Black House. So as I said in a video the other day, I think it was in my countdown challenge video, I really liked The Talisman and reread that a few years ago and really enjoyed it again. So looking forward to reading Black House, the sequel. Dr. Sleep. So The Shining is probably my favourite King novel, and I think at one point in my life I would have said it was my favourite book. I think not anymore, but still interested to see what he does in Dr. Sleep. Dew McKee, which I definitely have started reading at some point and didn't get on with. So yeah, we'll see. And then books 4 and 5, 5 and 6 of The Dark Tower. So I've read the first 4. In fact, I think I've read the first 4 at least twice, but never any further than that. So Walls of Calla, which again is an absolute beast. So 760 odd pages. And Song of Susanna. So I still haven't got a copy of the last book, whatever that's called. Is it just called The Dark Tower? I can't remember. So yeah, I'll need to get a copy of that at some point as well. Moving on to an author whose name I'm going to struggle to pronounce, was it John Avide Lindquist, who obviously most famous for writing Let the Right One In, which I have read. I haven't read any of these three, which I'm going to show you, but all supposed to be good, and I really like Let the Right One In. So Let the Right One In. So see what I make of these. So we've got Little Star, Handling the Undead, and Harbour, which I've heard very good things about. I've got a collection of short stories by him in hardback somewhere as well, but I'm not entirely sure where that is. Right, next up, another author who I read quite a lot of when I was younger, and then hadn't read anything more recently until I think earlier this year I reread the first two books in this series, the Special X series, which are Headhunter and Ghoul. So a Canadian writer called Michael Slade, who writes these they're a kind of mix of cop novel and serial killer novel, sometimes with a bit of supernatural stuff thrown in as well. So we've got Cutthroat, Shrink, Zombie, and the rest of these books, so the ones that come after this, I've got on Kindle now as well, so I should be able to read the whole series at some point. Okay, let's do these ones next. So another author I've got a couple of books by, so I've got by M.R. Carey, The Girl with All the Gifts, and the sequel, The Boy on the Bridge. So not read these, I've not seen the film either, which people do suggest is worth watching. So I think when I've read the book, I will watch the movie of Girl with All the Gifts. Right, let's do some standalones. So another book that was famously filmed but which I've never read, War Zed. I've got the horrible movie edition of it, which is a really weird shape as well. I've never seen a book, I don't think, that's this shape. It's really tall. I don't know why. And it's subsequently got huge margins at the top. Yeah, I tried to read this years ago when it first came out, I think, and didn't really get on with it. But subsequently, I read Max Brooks's book. What was it called? The Bigfoot one. Can't remember what it's called. Devolution. I read that earlier this year, I think, or last summer, and really enjoyed that. And discovered at that point that he's Mel Brooks' son, which I didn't know. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to reading that. Next up, we've got The Deep by Nick Cutter. So I read and reviewed The Troop by him a month or so ago on the channel, so I thought it was pretty good. So yeah, looking forward to trying this one as well, which I've had in paperback for probably 3 or 4 years. Next up, I'm the King of the Castle by Susan Hill. So Hill obviously most famous for The Woman in Black, which I've read and is fantastic. This is supposed to be a bit more of a kind of psychological, disturbing novel. So it's got a fantastic reputation. So interested to see what that's like when I get to it. This one I think was just a random charity shop pickup. Don't know anything about it at all. Not read anything by the author, but The Orphan by Christopher Ransom, which looks like it could be okay. Right, Lauren, I don't know how you pronounce her surname, Lauren Buke's Broken Monsters. So I've read The Shining, what's it called? The Shining Girls, which I thought was pretty good. I thought it had problems, The Shining Girls. And I've read something else by her, and I was trying to remember the title of it. Well, I think I've read something more recent by her as well, but I forget the name. But Broken Monsters, I hear, is very good. It's got an interesting concept. Something strange is happening in Detroit. Hybrid bodies are turning up, half animal, half human. So yeah, it could be good. The next 3 are all ones I've shown recently, because these are all books that I got through the Abominable book club. So we've got The Many, which I think when I pulled it out of the box, I couldn't decipher what that word was, and I think I called it The Many. But yes, The Many by Will Menmuir, which is a kind of literary horror. The Cottingley Cuckoo by A.J. Elwood, which is a kind of more of a fairy tale type thing, I think. And Bitter Chills, which is a collection of winter-themed horror short stories. Looks fun. Right, we're getting there. Let's see what we've got here. Right, so I've got some older stuff now. So The Embryo by Andrew Lawrence, which I know nothing about at all. So again, this was a random charity shop pickup. I think I might have got it on the Isle of Wight when we were on holiday there. So yeah, don't know much about that. A very battered copy of The Amityville Horror by Jay Anson, which I think I may have read as a teenager, but I can't remember. A nice old UK edition of Shattered by Dean Koontz, or Dean R. Koontz as he was then. I'm not sure why he dropped the R, I quite like the R, but anyway, yeah, so this one I've definitely read, but like yonks ago. Scorpion Second Generation, which is about giant scorpions, so who couldn't love that, by Michael R. Lineker. I've been trying to get, pre-book ban, was trying to get a copy of the first book, but it's like stupidly expensive, so I haven't bothered. But yeah, this looks like it could be fun anyway. Alligator by Shelley and Paul Katz, which I picked up a while ago in a charity shop, which looks like it's about a giant alligator that eats people, so it's got to be good. A nice vintage Pan edition of the 8th book of Pan horror stories by Herbert Van Thal, with a nice severed head cover there. So certainly growing up, I really remember the covers of these books being, you know, quite creepy and cool. I don't know who's got stories in this one. Let's have a quick look. Ray Bradbury, maybe the only name I recognise. I think it is. Yeah, I don't recognise any of the other names, but they tend to be quite nicely collected, you know, quite decent selections. The Snake by John Gotti. So I've read his other book, one of his other books, The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, the thriller, which is really good. I think this is about an escaped snake on the loose, so sounds right up my alley. In a similar animal vein, I've got Cat by Andrew Sinclair. So this is about a wild cat loose on the moors, I think, which is one of those things over here in the UK that it turns up in the news every so often, people thinking they've seen wild cats on the moors. So yeah, we'll see if this is any good. Apparently it's as gripping as Jaws. I'm not sure I believe that, but we'll see what it's like. This one I think I've shown before, so Moon Dance by S.P. Somto. So I did a review of his book Vampire Junction a while ago on the channel. This is a werewolf book by him, which I have read many, many years ago and absolutely loved. So yeah, looking forward to rereading that, and I really like this edition as well. We are nearly there. Oh, I missed a Michael Slade book. I thought I had. So another Michael Slade book, Ripper, which I missed out when I went through those earlier on. The Abominable by Dan Simmons. So everyone talks about The Terror and no one talks about Abominable. And I don't know if that's because, no pun intended, it's abominable or not. So yeah, if you've read it, let me know. I'm going to read The Terror in 2022 because it comes from a year that I need to read in my countdown challenge. And most people seem to think it's a good book. I read quite a bit of Dan Simmons back in the 90s. I really like what I read back then, so yeah, we'll see how I get on with Abominable, which is a whopper. How long is it? 700 odd pages. Next up, I've had this book for ages. So this book is full of spiders, and I've had it for ages, by David Wong. So I read John Dies at the End, which is the book that precedes this in the series, ages ago, and loved it, and got this, and then for some reason I haven't read it. I don't know why. So I definitely need to read that, especially as there's a third one out, I think, beginning part of the year. And I read he's written a couple of science fiction novels more recently, which I read and really enjoyed as well, so I definitely want to get to that one. And then The Silence by Tim Lubben, which is supposed to be pretty good, and again, once I've read this I can watch the movie on Netflix. Again, I'm terrible, you can see I'm terrible at taking stickers off the covers of things. I need to sort that out. Right, we are very nearly there. So now we're on to some bigger things. Oh, blimey, they're heavy as well. Right, so first up, obviously I've read these stories, but not in this edition, and this is rather lovely. So this was a Christmas present a few years ago. So they're collected Cthulhu Mythos stories by Lovecraft. So it's a really smashing edition. Gold trim on the pages just to be extra posh. Lovely plate there. I don't know if it's got, I don't think it's got illustrations in it, sadly, but it does look very nice. And it's, you know, when you like an author as much as I like Lovecraft, it's lovely to have a decent edition. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Blood Cruise by Matt Strandberg. So this is a sort of horror novel set on a cruise liner. So I got sent this by a publisher when it came out, and shamefully didn't get around to reading it. So yeah, 2018 they sent it to me. That's quite cute actually. Look, I've got a boarding pass. So yeah, terribly, I didn't read it, but I've seen it crop up again on Instagram recently, and people seem to suggest it's very good. So I put that one down from the attic to give a try. This one I showed the other day when I received it. So Ghost, which is a collection of 100 ghost short stories. So again, very nicely presented. So looking forward to getting to that. Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. His IKEA-like IKEA catalogue-like book, which is very nicely presented. So I've had this for ages and haven't read it. I've read a load of his novels since I got this and really enjoyed them, but somehow I never got to reading this. And then two more that I've had through from publishers. So Born to the Dark by Ramsey Campbell. So this is the sequel to, what was the first book called? Can't remember. It's the second book in the trilogy. I read the first book and it was really quite good. It's about this kid who can kind of talk to ghosts and stuff. But it has quite a nice kind of Lovecraftian really vibe to it as well. So this is the second book in the series, which I need to get to. And then Mestiza Blood by V. Castro. So I reviewed her novel Queen of the Cicadas a little while ago on the channel. This is a short story collection, so looking forward to getting to that one soon as well. Obviously there's quite a few books here that I said I'm looking forward to getting to them soon. We'll see how soon I get to them, because there's quite a pile of them, as you can see. There's some on the floor down there as well. Yeah, so anyway, that's the horrors. I'll leave you to your days. If you've got this far, well done. Thanks for sticking with me. And in a minute, I will film the video for that kind of stuff, which I will put up the day after I put this one up properly. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that bookshelf tour, and I will speak to you again soon. Cheerio.